Morning. How's everybody doing? Good? All right.
Hello, Nick. It's Doug Smith of the Toronto Star. Look to your right. How are you, sir?
I'm awesome, Doug. How are you?
Not bad. So you've had the summer to sort of imagine how you might coach this group and how they might play, and where are you in that process? And what do you anticipate coming out of the bag of tricks?
Well, I think that, first of all, Doug, a lot of new faces, but again, a lot of, kind of different type players too, I think. I really like the size and the length. You're probably going to hear me talk about that a lot this year. I think when you start looking at some of the athleticism, speed, again, just the size of the guys in different places, that we should be very versatile. That's like one of my themes for the year. We should have guys that can play a lot of different ways on both ends of the floor, right? Or always, if they can play always, on both ends of the floor, that's kind of what we're after. So that's kind of what I am excited to get out there and see what it looks like here in, I guess, a week. We get to see what it looks like for real, right? I mean, somewhat for real against another opponent.
Hello, Nick. Josh Lewinberg, TSN.
Hi, Josh.
How you doing?
Good.
Your first training camp here without Kyle Lowry. It seems in a lot of ways like Fred is sort of a natural successor there, obviously positionally and spiritually as well. How much are you going to be looking to him this year to fill some of that Kyle void and take on some more responsibility both on and off the court?
Yeah, I mean, I think Fred's already kind of been, himself, which is he's carried a lot of that load already, right? I think will it expand some as from a leadership standpoint? I suppose, but I think it's going to be probably up to a collective group of other guys, Josh, to provide some of that. And those people are pretty obvious. It's the people that have been immersed in this culture and been here for a few years. Our veterans aren't veterans by age, but they're veterans by number of years that they've been here now. So, I mean, we all know and witnessed the great leadership that Kyle provided in a lot of ways, and that will be a void that we're going to have to try to fill for sure.
Hey, Nick. Michael Grange from Sportsnet. Maybe just, I was going to say compare and contrast to last year, but it was only like 6 months ago. You guys were getting set up in Tampa or whenever it was, but I'm very confused. But on that point, like, what's it been like this past month, just having OVO Center at your disposal,
Yep.
being in the city feels kind of normal versus some of the chaos that we were going through this time, whenever it was?
It feels really good. I mean, I don't really know what to say other than way more comfortable. And I don't think why we were going through all that last year, it felt that uncomfortable. But now, when I'm here, now that we're back and looking back, it does seem a lot, it's just, I don't know, it's just great that's the first time I've walked into my office downstairs in, I don't know, February of 2020, right? And whatever, right? So it was like, that's almost, that's 2 years around the corner there. That's 18 months at least. And everything was still there, right? Everything was kind of forgot all the stuff I had in there, but it was all still there. And I did went to my locker. There still was a blue suit in there, a bunch of dust on it, but I couldn't wear it today. But just feels good to be back and taking those things you're more familiar with. I think it feels great for the staff as well. Just having the office that you're used to working in, the environment you're used to working in. And I can't really tell you, it just feels really, really good, way more comfortable. Yep.
Hey, Nick. Eric Corrine, The Athletic. Good to see you.
You too, Eric. How you doing?
I'm doing all right,
Good.
thank you.
Good.
You mentioned the size and length of the roster. From a coaching perspective, when you look at the roster, what do you see as your biggest challenge in terms of making this team as good as you'd like to?
Well, I don't know if I know yet, Eric. But if I had to sit here and wonder, is there enough scoring there? I don't know. But I kind of believe in the scoring by the system, and I think we're trying to develop some guys that are score. I think there's guys that score. Pascal, Freddie. Chris can score. There's OGs coming, as we know, as a scorer. I mean, I think there will be, but I don't. I guess I'm just there's a lot of concerns, but nothing that really worries me. I think there'll be things to polish up and push forward and add and subtract and all those kind of things. But I'm just excited to get them out there to see, right? Because I think there is a lot of depth, and I think there's a lot of athleticism, and I think there's a lot of enthusiasm as well. So those are all really cool things that we're gonna get to see to hit the floor.
Hey, Nick, Vivek Jacob, Raptors.com, over here.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm okay.
Nick, you mentioned the strength and the length of this team, the athleticism. The transition game is something that's always been important to you, and you guys have been really good at that. How much more room do you think you guys have to grow in that regard?
Well, I think we got some more room, or maybe just it's going to maybe look a little different. Again, I think that we should be moving pieces around a lot, just depending on what lineup's on the floor. So I think, it should look different. Like who's the first guy down the floor, who's filling the corners, who's pushing the ball, should all be changing constantly. If we get this the way we think we're gonna get there eventually with this, I think it'll take some work and some time to get there. But that would be. And we wouldn't be doing it if we didn't think it was going to be at as high or higher pace than we're already playing at. And I just say, listen, we're not trying to be some run and gun, type of team, but we do like to put pressure, on the defense. And I also say that if we're going to play all this defense, we better get some offense out of it, right? So I think that those things are important about getting it up quickly and trying to attack before they're set and getting them in rotations really quickly and all those kind of things just is a complementary piece to our defense and also puts a lot of pressure on their defense.
Nick, hi. Steve Simmons, Toronto Sun.
Hi, Steve.
What tests you more as a coach? Having a roster that can win a championship and can challenge for being the best team in the league? Or to have a team now that maybe you're 10 deep already and you're not sure who's going where or what's going what? As a coach, how does that change you?
Well, I think there's certainly both test you. I think think that's how you frame the question. I think both of them test you. I think that when you've got all the pieces kind of there and you know where they are. It's getting those pieces to perform and produce consistently on a nightly basis on the games that maybe people think that aren't that important, all those things, but they are important. When it all adds up at the end for seeding and all those kind of things. And then now there'll be some real battles going on. I think for starting positions, I think there'll be some real battles for rotational positions. So figuring some of that out. Always kind of is interesting and probably takes a lot of tinkering and a lot of goes one way for a while, then it goes another way, and then maybe comes around to back to where you thought it was going to be originally or whatever. And I just think that, for me, it's only just important that we go out there and we try to be who we are. What's our identity? Well, we like to play really hard, and we like to guard really hard, and we like to attack on offense, and we like to do it on a nightly basis. And that is all I'm striving for with any team. The start of any season I sit here, I'm trying to get the team to max out its ability, and that's no different this year than it was 3 years ago.
Hey, Nick. Stephen Lung, Sportsnet.
Hi,
Over
Stephen.
here. It's good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
How do you envision this defense kind of playing or playing out, right? Obviously, with all that length and athleticism, it can do a lot of things, right? But how do you envision them? Like kind of attacking opposing offenses?
Yeah, well, I think with some versatility. First of all, we believe in ball pressure, right? We believe in trying to get into the basketball. We think that letting people handle the ball with freedom and ease is not something we want to do, right? We want to try to be disruptive. As usual, I think that will be, I think all the kind of same size guys a lot of the times gives you lots more switching to do, and again that goes along with switching to disrupt, right? Not just switching to slide along, but switching to get in there and jar the ball loose and change patterns and cut offenses off and things like that. And I also think that all the length should enable us to play a lot more zone, right? I think that would be something. I mean, you guys all watch the summer league. You probably noticed that zone was a factor in all those things we're doing, and we've worked on that pretty hard all summer, just as a coaching staff, trying to maneuver it around, and then we were able to put it into practices and I use it in some of those games, and then repolish it and reshape it. So I would imagine we'll be doing a lot of that as well. So I would just say, I don't know. I think there should be enough people there to, first of all, look you in the eye, right, and guard you, and secondly, be able to move at the same speed as the people we're playing against and guard you. So I like that. I like the thought of that.
Hey, Nick. Aaron Rose, SI.com. Good
Hi,
to
Aaron.
finally see you in person.
Yeah, you too.
Question for you about that length. Rebounding at times was an issue for you guys last season. How do you feel that's been addressed? And in terms of defending some of the bigger bigs in the NBA, how do you feel like you can do that with this roster?
Well, I think it's been addressed with size and athleticism. That should help us, right? With and depth with the rebounding, that should help us. And I don't know. I mean, I think we'll see. But I've liked what we saw in Kem in the short stint we had him last year. I like what I've seen in Precious so far. There's some other guys, Freddie G and Reggie, some guys that'll compete for the spot on the roster as well as a big. So I think we'll be okay. I mean, I think there's certainly, you're probably saying the big bigs. I probably know who you're talking about, one of them anyway, and we'll just have to scheme for those on those nights. Without mentioning any names, right? We all know who you're talking about.
Hey, Nick. Ryan Wolstad, Toronto Sun.
Hi,
Good to
Ryan.
see you. Two-parter here. I'd imagine, as like any coach, you're going to be pretty excited about having a lot of practices, something we haven't seen in the last bunch of teams, obviously with a younger group. And this the second part. How does Pascal being out in the early going, just because he's the primary scorer and such a key part of the defense, how does that impact and complicate things with the new group here?
Well, it's certainly. Geez, was that a two-parter? I forgot the first part already. Second part was, let's go to Pascal and we come back to that first one. I mean, listen, Pascal looks really good right now. It looks. If you went in the gym and saw him working out, you wouldn't know that he was anything. I mean, he's moving full speed. He's in great shape. His conditioning looks, good. He's done a great job. You wouldn't know. I mean, obviously, it just takes some more time to make sure we're ready to handle contact and some of those things with that thing. Obviously, there's a lot of shots and a lot of chances for other guys to fill in. I mean, obviously, we know that. I don't know how it'll shake out in the end, but it should give OG some room to grow there a little bit in the early season. Scottie obviously will get some of those cracks. Chris Boucher, Gary Trent. I mean, I think there's again plenty of guys that'll be lining up to fill in for those chances. And but obviously it'll be a bit of a setback at the start because he's our primary guy and a guy we're super reliant on to provide a lot at both ends. So, we'll miss him till he gets back, but let's hope it's not too long.
Hey, Eric Corrine again. You just mentioned Scottie. Since you guys drafted him, you saw him play in Summer League. Maybe some of your scouts told you how he looked in other situations. Where is he compared to where you thought he is? And without getting into specifics, how big of a role can you see him on this team if and when fully healthy?
Yeah, he's. I mean, first of all, his role is going to be huge. I'm sitting here from day one to give him as many minutes and reps and all those things that he can handle. I think his impact of defending, rebounding, running, spirit, enthusiasm, size, all that stuff gets him in the mix early and often, and he'll stay in there often and late. I would imagine. And where is he? Well, I think that he's really improved. I mean, obviously we've worked on his shooting right away from day one. And he's, like you've heard me sit up here before and talk about some of these other guys in the past, he's really taken to it. The mechanics look really good. It just takes a little time, to get super comfortable and get those mechanics on kind of autopilot, right? So that looks good. We'll keep working at the scoring. They'll figure out where we can get him the ball and where he can get some chances and things like that, and go from there. But no, he looks great to me.
Hey Nick, Lindsay Dunn, City News. Good to see you again.
Hi, Lindsay. How
we're
are
hearing-
you?
I'm good, thank you
Good,
for
yep,
asking.
yep.
We're hearing a lot about the physical aspects of players, what they worked on throughout the summer, but as the coach, the limited summer that you had, what did you work on for you to help kind of improve your role if you think you needed improvement?
Yeah, I mean, I think each summer we go into some things with some ideas, and most of these get kicked around for probably more than a summer. There's something that started kind of a couple years ago or whatever, and we're changing. I'd say some things, quite a bit of things. I think we're changing terminology all the time. We're changing some things we're doing in our offensive flow and our offensive sets. I already mentioned some of the defensive changes. So, I mean, it's kind of like, I think there's always, some wheels turning about how the best, get the best out of what team you have. And some of it changes once you've seen them. You think, oh, no, maybe we should do this. And I would imagine that some of these things, and they usually do, like we're going to be doing something defensively that we haven't thought of yet this year, right? The offense is going to take another form and a shape, and it just that's kind of the process of how it all unfolds, which is awesome. It's like really fun part of the job to not really know what we're going to look like, in April, and just kind of keep. Things that we test that don't work, we chuck them, and things that do, we polish them, and we just kind of keep trying to build and try to make it suit this group of players the best we can.
Hey, Nick. Ian Harrison with Associated Press. Nice to see you.
Hi, Ian.
You mentioned Precious briefly. I wonder if you could just talk a little bit more about the player there. We haven't heard a lot about him.
Yeah, I mean, he's as you know, he's big and strong and athletic and kind of plays tough, right? He's got a kind of a sense of competitive sense about him when he's on the floor. He just doesn't go grab rebounds, like he takes rebounds, and you know what I mean, like things like that. He's really talented. He's really talented. I'm again, I haven't seen enough to know exactly where all that's going to slot in, but he can, you saw him in Summer League take the ball coast to coast, at 6'10" or 9 or whatever, 11, whatever he is, right? He's got so many 6'9", 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", 6'11 guys. He's in there somewhere. He's one of those guys. We can take it coast to coast. He can beat his man from the perimeter off the dribble to the rim. His shooting is coming as well, right? He shoots it decent, okay, and we're working at that. He's big and strong. He can run. I mean, so he needs some reps for sure. He's young. I think he's 20. Right, so I would imagine he's going to have to learn a lot of the defensive schemes the way we want to do them. and again, try to limit. There's going to be mistakes, obviously, with somebody learning a new system, and we just got to keep kind of trimming those mistakes off as we go, and he'll be a good defender. Again, he's got the tools, the size, the speed, all that to be a really good defender, and he's capable on offense. So I think he's got a really, really bright future. Yep.
Nick, Steve Simmons again. Not that many years ago, you sat in here as the new guy on the job, and here you are today as the longest-serving coach in Toronto sports currently. What does it feel to sort of be at one extreme and then the other in not that many years, really?
Yeah, I never thought of that, Steve. I wish you wouldn't have put that seed in my head. No, I'm just kidding. You know what I think about the most, Steve, is like how wild they were sitting here for the fourth time. Man, we had one like the normal season to kick it off. We played here, but it certainly didn't end normal with the and then we finished the next season in Orlando in the bubble, and then we finished the next season in Tampa, and now we're back. I mean, the just stark contrast to what we're having. I know you guys probably know I have a April, May, and June thing, that we want to play our best in April. Well, I've only had one of those in 2 years. It was April, May, and June. Then it was August, September, October, I think, and then it was June, July, and August, and we're back to April, May, and June. So we're gonna go. But I don't know. I'm not really answering your question. That's what's been kind of weird to think about for me, really. But I really love it here. As you know, this has really become home for me and my family, and Canada basketball and all that stuff. So I'm just like, it feels really, really good to be back here.
Hey, Nick. I don't know who said it, but I think it has been said that in the NBA, like if your team plays hard every night, defends at a good level, it kind of gets you to that 35, 40 win mark kind of thing, and which generally you're in the mix for the playoffs-ish. Does this team feel like a team that's the floor for this group, or and if so, like what do you see the ceiling might be for this group as early as it is?
Yeah, I mean, you can, I got up this morning and saw the new power rankings were out. We're 19th in the league and maybe 11th in the East. And if you went to Vegas and you want to bet on the over/under, it's 36, I think. All right, somebody's pointed that out to me, right? So, but I don't know. I've never really approached the season with other thoughts other than trying to win and win big, right? Okay. There's got to be a way, right? There's got to be a way, and we got to figure it out, and we got to work. We got to work a little harder, then we're going to work a little harder. If we got to play a little smarter, then we got to coach a little better and get them to play a little. I mean, I don't. But the good news is we went up from 21 to 19 somehow since the last power ranking. So hopefully we can keep climbing, right? We can keep climbing, and I don't know. I expect the team to win, Michael. That's how I've always approached every season now for 30 years as a head coach. Expect them to win, and I expect myself and my staff to figure out a way to help them.
Hey, Nick, Aaron Rose again.
Yep.
I wanted to ask you about new assistant coach Trevor Gleason.
Yep.
What are you expecting from him, and how much flex offense will you be adopting this year?
We might run flex. We might. I ran it in 1985 in high school. And Trevor, first of all, Trevor's a really interesting guy, first of all. A really, really good coach. I think he's won 5 of the last 7 championships in Australia, which the league's a pretty high level over there. And, he's got a lot of head coaching experience. He went through the minor leagues somehow. He was Sioux Falls Skyforce back in the CBA. And so he's got a lot of different experiences as a head coach. I value that in my staff, that somebody that can kind of give you a viewpoint from all sides of it and knows kind of what it feels like to be sitting in that seat. He's really smart. I think when guys get to know him, you're going to really like him. He's really smart and a really good coach, and he's won a lot. I like all those characteristics. And he is starting in charge of the offense, so if you see some flex, you can ask him about that, okay?
Hi, Nick, on your left.
Hey.
Raphael Guillemette, Radio Canada. To finish on a high note, there's a little over a week before the first preseason game in Toronto. It will be in front of 10,000 people, but I'm sure you'll like that better than most games last year. What do you miss most from your game day routine in Toronto? What are you most looking forward to in that first preseason game in front of fans?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I just not even the game day. Sometimes when it's the day before or 2 days before, when it's a game, you can start to feel the electricity building, right, in the streets and the talk and everything. And I think that's it. You just that game day vibe and excitement just from everybody around. You start to feel it, and that's what I've missed the most for sure. I'm looking forward to that. I'm sure next Monday, I know it's just a preseason game, but it's the first game here in a long time. I'm sure those 10,000 people that are going to be in there are going to be excited, and we will definitely be excited to play that night for sure.
And folks, do we have a final question for Coach Nurse here?
Nope,
Anyone?
good.
Nope, you're all good. Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thanks everybody. Great to see you, and we'll see you soon. Okay, thanks a lot.